Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when two monsters meet? I'm not talking about monsters in the literal sense. I am talking about the kind of creature that inhabits a human body, but has lost any trace of humanity. Two beings who chose darkness as their home and made the suffering of others their entertainment. Death, Mask, and Death. Two names that carry the very essence of what they represent. Keep this encounter in your memory, because this isn't an ordinary battle. It's a shattered mirror reflecting the same void. Death Mask, the Gold Knight of Cancer. The name says it all, doesn't it? This guy abandoned his own birth name, buried whatever identity he had before wearing the golden armor, and in its place, he chose to be called by what he does best: delivery, death. The Cancer Temple in the sanctuary is an architectural nightmare. The walls covered with faces, hundreds of them, thousands. Each face twisted in eternal agony, trapped in the exact moment of death. Men, women, children. Death Mask made no distinction. To him, a face was a trophy, proof of power, macabre decoration for his temple of horrors. And the most disturbing part, he didn't kill out of duty, didn't kill by order. He killed because he enjoyed it, while other gold knights carried codes of honor. Death Mask carried contempt. Contempt for life, contempt for the weak, contempt for anything resembling compassion. To him, the strong devour the weak, and sentimentality is a loser's disease. Now cross with me into another dimension. Literally, the God Warrior of Zeta, guardian of one of Odin's jewels in Asgard. If Death Mask was human cruelty elevated to the extreme, Deathtoll was that same cruelty dressed in divine arrogance. This guy collected two, not faces on walls, but something equally disturbing. Deathtoll kept the bodies of his victims frozen in iced crystals. Eternal trophies preserved in Asgard's skull, each one captured in the final instant. Like sculptures of terror he admired in moments of boredom. See the pattern. Two men, two collections. The same sick obsession with turning death into art. Close your eyes and imagine this encounter. Death Mask, the sadist of the sanctuary, crossing paths with Deathtoll, the collector of frozen corpses. What happens when two abysses stare at each other? The battle between them wasn't about justice, wasn't about saving the world. It was about ego. Two predators competing over who was the most cruel, the most powerful, the most worthy of being feared. Death Mask entered Asgard carrying that cynical smile we know, that look of someone who's seen so much horror that nothing impresses him anymore. And when he came face to face with Deathtoll, he didn't feel fear, he felt recognition. It was like looking into a distorted mirror. The fight exploded with a violence that transcended the physical waves of hell against Howls of Odin. Two devastating techniques colliding while the two exchanged not just blows, but philosophies. Deathtoll believed in the supremacy of the Norse gods, in the inevitability of Ragnarok, in purification through eternal cold. To him, the weak existed only to feed the glory of the strong, and keeping their bodies was a favor, a way to give meaning to their pathetic existences. Death Mask, he believed in nothing. Not in Athena, whom he supposedly served, not in the sanctuary's ideals, not in humanity itself. To him, the universe was a giant slaughterhouse, and the smart ones were the butchers, not the cattle. Two different ways of spitting in the face of life. But here's the detail that transforms this battle into something greater than punches and cosmos. When Death Mask fights heroes, we root against him. Obviously, he's the villain, the monster, but when he faces someone equally monstrous, something strange happens. We don't know who to root for. There's no right side. It's just darkness against darkness, and in that darkness, truths appear. Deathtoll provoked Mask about his loyalty to Athena, called him a dog serving a weak goddess, and Mask, he laughed. Laughed because he agreed he never served Athena out of devotion. He served because the golden armor gave power, gave freedom to do whatever he wanted. It was an arrangement of convenience, not faith. But when Deathtoll talked about exterminating the Bronze Knights, about destroying everything Athena represented, something changed in Mask's eyes. It wasn't heroism. It wasn't redemption. It was territoriality. Mask could despise the sanctuary, could consider Athena a naive idea, but that was his world. Those were his toys. And nobody, especially not a frozen Viking from the north, was going to come in and put their hands on what was his. It's bizarre, right? The closest moment to loyalty that Mask demonstrated didn't come from love or honor. It came from possessiveness, from wounded pride, from refusal to be considered inferior. The battle reached a brutal climax, both bleeding, both Luffy, two madmen dancing on the precipice of annihilation. And in the end, Mask won. Not because he was nobler, not because he deserved it, but because in the confrontation between two evils, whoever embraces their own darkness with more intensity wins. And nobody in any universe embraced the void like the Cancer Knight Deathtoll fell. Another face for the collection. Another trophy to feed the ego of a man who had long since stopped being human. But you know what this fight truly revealed? That villains don't exist in a vacuum. They recognize each other, test each other, measure each other, and when two evils collide, the universe doesn't become cleaner. Only the stronger evil remains. Mask was never truly redeemed, never became a hero. The most he did was occasionally point his cruelty at enemies worse than himself. But the cruelty continued, the collection of faces continued, the void where a soul should exist continued. Deathtoll was exactly the same. He just lost. And maybe this is the darkest lesson of all. In the war between monsters, there is no victory. There is only survival. There's only one predator standing at the inn, looking at the others, corpse and thinking about where to hang one more trophy. Mask returned from the confrontation in Asgard the same way he entered, smiling, cynical, and because to him, killing Deathtoll was no different from killing anyone else. It was just another day at work, another passing amusement, another proof that in this universe, monsters also have a hierarchy, and he was at the top. Now, tell me something. When evil destroys evil, does the world get better, or do we just trade one nightmare for another?